The sun sank low, painting the Wyoming sky red over sharp mountain peaks. Dust kicked up by the wind stung the eyes of the lone cowboy riding through the dry land. His name was Caleb Holt, a man shaped by tough times, his face rough like the cliffs around him. His old, worn hat sat low over eyes that carried too many painful memories. A revolver hung at his side, its handle smooth from years of use. The trail he followed was empty, winding through bushes and dry grass. But it always led him to her, Ellie. Caleb's heart beat faster when he thought of Ellie Kane, the woman who'd stolen his heart despite everything keeping them apart. She was tough and brave, with golden hair and eyes that could see right through a man. Her family, the Kanes, owned the biggest ranch in the valley, built on hard work and grit. To them, Caleb was just a wanderer, a man with a dark past and no worth. They thought he wasn't good enough for Ellie. But she loved him deeply, and that love was a fire they couldn't put out, no matter how hard they tried. He pulled his horse, a strong bay named Jericho, to a stop by a dry creek. The Kane Ranch was just over the hill, its big house glowing in the evening light. Caleb's jaw clenched. He'd promised to stay away after Ellie's father chased him off with a shotgun last spring. But her letter, tucked in his vest, felt heavy against his chest. "Meet me by the cottonwood at dusk. I need you." Those words pulled him back, even though it was risky. The cottonwood tree stood alone, its twisted branches reaching into the sky. Ellie was already there, her figure clear against the fading light. She wore a plain dress, but the way she stood, head high, shoulders straight, made her look proud and strong. Caleb got off his horse, his boots crunching on the dry ground. "Ellie," he said, his voice low and rough. "Caleb," she whispered, stepping closer. She reached for his hand, but stopped, looking back nervously. "Pa's men are watching the house. We don't have much time." He nodded, his throat tight. "You shouldn't be here. If they catch us, I don't care," she said fiercely, her eyes burning. "I ain't living without you, Caleb Holt. Not for Pa, not for anyone." He wanted to hold her close, to forget everything, but his past weighed him down. "I ain't worth it, Ellie. You know what I've done. The blood I've spilled." "Stop!" She grabbed his arm, her grip firm. "You're not that man anymore. Whatever you did, that's not you now. I see the real you, Caleb." Her words hit him hard, sparking a hope he'd buried long ago. But hope was dangerous in a land that broke dreams and left nothing behind. Years back, he'd been a hired gun, running with a gang that left bodies from Texas to Montana. He'd walked away, but the memories of the men spilled. He'd killed and the lives he'd ruined followed him. The Kanes knew enough to call him a devil, and maybe they were right. Before he could say more, a twig snapped nearby. Caleb's hand went to his revolver, his eyes searching the shadows. Ellie froze, her breath catching. "It's them," she whispered. "Pa's men." "Get behind me," Caleb growled, stepping in front of her. Two riders appeared in the dim light, their faces hard under wide hats. Tom Darrow, the Kane's foreman, led them, his hand on the rifle across his saddle. "Well, look at this," Darrow said, spitting into the dirt. "Miss Ellie, your pa's gonna be mighty mad you're out here with this no good." "Leave her alone, Darrow," Caleb said, his voice calm but sharp. "This ain't your business." Darrow smirked. "You're on Kane land, Drifter. That makes it my business. Step away from her, or I'll shoot you down." Ellie stepped forward, her chin high. "You won't touch him, Tom Darrow. You try, and I'll—" "Quiet!" The second rider, a thin man named Spence, cut her off. "Miss Ellie, you're coming with us. This ain't no place for you." Caleb's fingers twitched near his revolver, but he knew a fight could end badly. Maybe for Ellie. "Go with him, Ellie," he said softly. "I'll find you." Her eyes met his, fierce and desperate. "You better," she said, then turned to the riders. "I'm going, but tell Pa this ain't over." As Darrow and Spence took her away, Caleb climbed onto Jericho and rode fast into the night, his heart pounding with anger and fear. He couldn't lose her. Not to her family, not to his past, not to this harsh land. The next morning, Caleb was camped in a narrow canyon, red rock walls rising around him like guards. He hadn't slept, his mind racing of plans. Ellie's family would never let them be, not while her father was alive. The only way was to take her far from the valley, but that meant facing dangers, outlaws, storms, maybe even the law. And Caleb knew her father would send men after them, men who'd kill without blinking. He was packing up when he heard hoofbeats. He grabbed his revolver and hid behind a rock. A single rider appeared, wearing a long coat and hat. It was Ellie. "Caleb!" he called, jumping off her horse. She ran to him, wrapping her arms around him. "I snuck out before dawn. Pa's got men searching the ranch for me." He held her tight, breathing in her scent. "You're crazy, woman. They'll chase us down." "Then we ride," she said, looking up at him. "Together. I ain't living without you." He wanted to argue, to send her back for her safety, but her fierce eyes stopped him. She was tough, raised on the same hard land as him. "All right," he said, "but it won't be easy. We need supplies and a place to hide till the trail's safe." "There's a trading post 2 days north," she said. "We can get supplies there. Then maybe Montana, somewhere new." He nodded, though worry gnawed at him. The road ahead was dangerous, and his past always seemed to catch up. But for her, he'd face anything. They rode hard all day, the sun burning their backs as they crossed wide plains with dry grass and cacti. The land was harsh, its beauty cruel, golden grass under a huge sky, mountains sharp on the horizon. By night, they camped in a hidden spot, out of sight. Caleb built a small fire, its light dancing on Ellie's face as she sat close, her knees pulled up. "Tell me about it," she said quietly. "Your past. I know it bothers you." He stared at the fire, her words heavy. "Not much to tell. I was young and stupid, ran with a gang in Texas. We stole, we killed. I thought it made me tough. Then I saw what it cost." His voice broke and he looked away. "I left, but the guilt don't go away." She took his hand, her touch warm and steady. "You're not that man now, Caleb. You're with me. That's what counts." He wanted to believe her, but the memories lingered. They sat quietly, the fire crackling, until hoofbeats broke the silence. Caleb jumped up, revolver ready. "Get down," he whispered. 3 riders appeared, dark against the moonlight. Darrow's voice rang out. "Holt, you can't run. Give us the girl, and maybe we let you go." Ellie pulled a small pistol from her boot. "I ain't going back," she shouted. "Tell Pa that." Darrow laughed, cold and cruel. "You're making this hard, girl." Caleb stepped forward, his gun steady. "Right away, Darrow. No need for blood." But Darrow raised his rifle, and everything exploded. Caleb fired, hitting Darrow in the shoulder. The foreman fell, cursing as the other riders shot back. Caleb pulled Ellie behind a rock as bullets hit the ground around them. "Stay down," he yelled, firing back. One rider fell, clutching his chest, but the other charged on horseback. Ellie shot her pistol, the bullet wild but enough to scare the horse. It reared, throwing the rider to the ground. Caleb ran to him, hitting him with the handle of his revolver. The man collapsed. Darrow, bleeding but alive, reached for his rifle. Caleb kicked it away, pointing his gun at Darrow's head. "This ends now," he growled. "Don't," Ellie said, her voice shaky but strong. "Killing him won't help." Caleb's finger tightened on the trigger, torn between anger and fear. But her words stopped him. He lowered his gun. "Get out of here, Darrow. Tell Kane we're done running." Darrow spat blood, his eyes full of hate. "This ain't over, Holt." He stumbled to his horse and rode off, leaving his men behind. The trading post was a rough place, a few old buildings by a dry river. Caleb and Ellie traded for food, jerky, beans, a canteen with the little money they had. The place was full of tough men, drifters and cowboys who watched Caleb's gun and Ellie's beauty. They tried to stay quiet, but trouble came anyway. As they packed their horses, a man stepped out, his face scarred and his eyes cold. "Caleb Holt," he said, his voice sharp. "It's been a while." Caleb froze, his past hitting him hard. "Jace Murdoch," he said, hand near his revolver. Murdoch was from the old gang, a killer who held a grudge. Caleb thought he died years ago, but here he was, wanting revenge. "You owe me, Holt," Murdoch growled. "You left me to die in that canyon." "There's no debt," Caleb said. "Walk away, Jace." But Murdoch pulled his gun, fast as lightning. Caleb was quicker, his revolver firing twice. Murdoch fell, blood on his chest, dead in the dirt. The post went quiet, everyone staring. Caleb's hands shook as he put his gun away. "Let's go," he told Ellie, getting on his horse. She didn't speak as they rode off, but her eyes showed worry. His past was a shadow they couldn't escape. Days became weeks, each one a fight against the land and the men chasing them. They faced snowstorms in the mountains, wolves near their camp, and bounty hunters sent by Kane. Ellie was his strength, as tough as he was. But the strain of running wore them down, and Caleb's memories grew heavier. One night, under a starry sky, they camped in a meadow with pine trees around them. Ellie sat close, her head on his shoulder. "We'll make it, won't we?" she asked, her voice soft but searching. He wanted to promise her a happy future, but he couldn't lie. "I don't know, Ellie, but I'll fight for you till my last breath." She looked up, her eyes fierce. "Then we fight together, always." He kissed her, deep and desperate, pouring all his love and fear into it. They held each other as the night closed in, two people bound by a love stronger than the world. The end came in a narrow valley, the stone walls echoing with hoofbeats. Kane had sent a posse, 10 men, heavily armed, led by Darrow. Caleb and Ellie couldn't run. They hid behind a fallen log, guns ready. "Give up, Holt," Darrow yelled. "You ain't getting out." Caleb looked at Ellie, her face strong and determined. "I love you," he said, his voice raw. "I love you too," she whispered, steady despite her fear. The posse charged, guns firing. Caleb and Ellie fought back, hitting some men. But they were outnumbered. A bullet grazed Caleb's arm, another hit his side. He stumbled, blood soaking his shirt, but kept shooting. Ellie screamed his name, her pistol empty, and pulled him behind a rock. "Caleb, stay with me," she cried, tearing her dress to wrap his wounds. He held her hand, his vision fading. "Run, Ellie. Get to Montana. Live free." "I ain't leaving you," she said, tears falling. The posse got closer, but then a new sound came. Hoofbeats from the north. Riders appeared, led by Sheriff Amos Tate, an old friend from Caleb's past. Tate's men fired, pushing the posse back. Darrell fell, a bullet in his heart, and the others ran. Tate knelt beside Caleb, his face serious. "You're a fool, Holt, but you got a good woman." Caleb coughed, blood on his lips. "Take her to Montana. Keep her safe." Ellie sobbed, holding him. "No, Caleb, don't leave me." He smiled weakly, touching her cheek. "You're my salvation, Ellie, always." His eyes closed and everything faded. Ellie's cries echoed in the valley, a sound of love and loss that lingered forever. Ellie Kane made it to Montana, a free woman, carrying Caleb's memory in her heart. She built a strong life there, just as he'd wanted. The West moved on, its trails fading, but Caleb and Ellie's story lived on in whispers. A tale of a love that shone bright against the darkness, a fire that even death couldn't put out.